Morning. So I'm back. I'm back fixing stuff. Obviously, my plan to, get my children back in my life, get some justice, revenge, whatever you want to call it. It didn't work out too well. I'm not going to go into too much of everything I've been through since my last video, but needless to say, it's been a lot. I didn't get tortured. I was treated well. For the most part, I did do like a week in solitary on some mental health bullshit, and I with the help from my partners in the community, private individuals and corporations who have really caught me and put me back on my feet. I'm doing good now. I'm in a position where I've been approved to take the next step in my career from the Department of Consumer Protections, and I'm working for a contractor today, and hopefully I will be a contractor tomorrow. So, well, not tomorrow literally, but the next step from being a licensed technician is to be a licensed contractor. And like I said, I heard back from the state, and they don't have a problem with me taking the test. I certainly meet all the qualifications, multiplied by an entire order of magnitude, meaning I have roughly 10 times the required qualifications to take the test. In fact, it's literally 10 times the required qualifications. So I'm happy that they're not standing in my way. They don't really have a legitimate reason to, but the banks, the employment opportunities offered to me, and the financial settlements and such have made it so that upon my release from the state, I'm back on my feet. I mean, I'm not exactly where I was as far as everything I lost, because my house, after I got arrested, my house was burglarized. There was undoubtedly an organized effort, undoubtedly, in my mind, a state-sponsored organized effort. So I'm talking about organized crime, with me as a victim, and that crime not just being the kidnapping of my children, but also the home invasion and the burglary that followed my most recent arrest. And I do believe that it was members of the same institution that I was accused of threatening that have in turn burglarized my property and looted my children's inheritance. I can't prove that. There is an open investigation into the robbery of my house. I'm getting some degree of restitution from my insurance company, but it does look like I'm going to have to hire an attorney for that, because they're playing games with me, just kind of what you would expect from an insurance company. I hate to say. I thought that I had AAA and I'm about to go shopping for a new insurance company, although I'm sure that I would be as mistreated by them, by a new company as I was by AAA. But they're basically, it's roughly 50% of what it would cost to replace my stuff. Even if I went never mind the cost to replace what was stolen with a new version. But if I were to go out and try to buy, my Testo 330, I did a YouTube video on it. I had a 332 and I had a 331 and combustion analyzer, and they're offering me $0 for that, and they're saying prove that you bought it. Now they don't know that I'm like the YouTube Nazi that documents almost everything, and I also live alone, so I, as default or kind of consequence of that, buy almost all of my Woolies and wares on eBay and Amazon, which is actually kind of a blessing, because what the insurance company doesn't know is that I do have receipts for everything that was stolen. Or if not a receipt, I have documentation that I did own it, that it was purchased for this amount on this date, and I have kind of YouTube videos to reinforce that I had that property in my possession, but I didn't just buy it and sell it and whatever. But besides the insurance company, which basically they're offering me about 50% of what it would take to replace my stuff, and that's disregarding my silver collection, but just my trade tools. It's definitely a slap in the face. But everybody else, from the heating and air conditioning kind of community in the Bristol area, to other tradesmen, to my mortgage company, to local attorneys in the Bristol area, I couldn't have been helped more. And like I said, if you're in jail and I was in foreclosure, and I was in jail, in foreclosure with $0 in my bank account, and now I am a stone's throw away from starting my own company. I have all my utilities turned back on. I'm pretty much paid back all my debts. I am out of foreclosure. I am obviously working, and I have money in the bank. And in a couple months to just pretty much be right back where I was, I'm happy. I got to jump through a bunch of hoops, and it's kind of dealing with the state. It's a nightmare because they are. I have to be careful of what I say, because obviously I got arrested for comments I made on this station, and a part of my orders that I agreed to follow for being allowed to leave prison is to basically not bother the people that magically ended up with my children for 13 years and have no responsibility for their abduction. I can't talk to them. I'm pretty sure I can't talk about them. And that has nothing to do with corruption or public unions or state religion or child trafficking. It just happens to be the inclination of specific judges in Connecticut who made that decision. And if I were to insinuate that it has anything to do with organized crime, that has anything to do with a specific religion based in Italy, or banking interests within the police and their pension fund, I would be probably rearrested and forcefully medicated until I rejected that perspective. And I don't want to go through that. And I have a responsibility to not just myself, but my community. And the fact of the matter is, nobody cares. And that would be more upsetting to me as a fact if it wasn't for the fact that my children are already adults. I'm not fighting for my children. I'm fighting for revenge, and that is significantly less honorable behavior for me. Meaning, now that so much time has passed, my children are adults. No matter what I accomplish or fail to accomplish, they're already adults. I'm not changing anything. You know, so I have to be very careful about what I say for my own personal safety, and that's a calculated decision based on the desire to live out the rest of my life outside of a cage and free of state chemicals. That's what I want to be free of. I want to be free of a cage, and I want to be free of being forcefully medicated. So I'm not going to talk about them, but the other people in the community, the bankers, the working men, the plumbers, the heating and air conditioning technicians, the people on the licensing board, they have been fantastic. I feel like a brother. I feel embraced, and I'm very happy to be back at work. I'm off to pick up an apprentice now and then go to some Section 8 housing where they have the blessing of having a recirc pump and constant instant hot water, but it's not working. So I got to go figure that out. And some Section 8 housing out in Vernon. And yeah, I'm in the position right now where I do have enough money in the bank to start shopping for a very cheap van and to start buying some trade tools. Hopefully I pass my contractor's test in the next 6 months, and in that time I can I'm thinking of incorporating and starting a corporation for the year-on-year tax benefits and the potential ease of selling off a portion of the company in the future. It's just easier to raise capital, I think, with a corporation compared to an LLC. Although it's not typical for someone to start a company with a corporation, I would expect there to be at least some possibility of that being the right thing to do, at least in taxes and fundraising. But I'm still kind of researching that. I have to study the test I have to pass is for business law, and once I get that passed, I'm pretty much made in the shade. So that's the game plan right now. I'm kicking around ideas for a company name. I'm thinking things like, because when you have a small company, this is what I've heard. You don't want to name it after yourself. because that's going to limit the resale value of the company. And you're essentially branding your last name, which can be good, can be bad, but it does, you know, if you're selling your company in 10 years to a guy named Smith, he's not going to want to drive around with the previous owner's name on the truck. You know, so anyway, I was thinking First Pick Mechanical, because that's kind of right down the middle. It's my name, but it's my name that's disguised in a different way. So it doesn't look like somebody's name. And the other thing that I've heard is that when you're starting a small business, you're better off doing being a specialist rather than kind of a jack of all trades, because you're more likely to pick up that specialty work than go out there and compete with every Tom, Dick, or Harry for, you know, maintenance, tune-ups, basic stuff. So the alternative, and also the second name of a company that I was considering was Bristol Heat Pumps and Refrigeration. And it's not that I don't want to do oil, or I don't think there's a lot of money to be made in oil and stuff, but if I had to pick what I wanted to do, it would be refrigeration work. And heat pumps are kind of like, you know, an extension on that, pick up some extra work. And I don't know of any companies out there today that are advertising that they are heat pump specialists or anything like that. So I was thinking Bristol Heat Pumps and Refrigeration, or Bristol Refrigeration and Heat Pumps. That way I can try to corner the market in the city that I live. People might be more inclined to call Bristol Heat Pumps if they live in Bristol and they have a heat pump. So I think that might help with like the Google algorithms. I think that might help with kind of branding yourself as a local company, and thank you, and branding yourself as a specialist all at the same time. So I was kind of kicking around those as company names, but I'm just getting to my apprentice's house. I'm going to end the video, and just want to say I'm happy to be free again. I'm happy to be out here servicing the community, and I hope to stay this way.